Hi guys, welcome to my YouTube channel and my name is Dr. Monu Mishra. So guys, first of all, I would like to thank you all for subscribing my channel because recently we have surpassed 1000 subscribers on YouTube. So a big thanks to all of you for those has subscribed my channel, and as promised, this video is going to be about my PhD journey, how I completed my PhD journey, what are the things I achieved, what are the things I suffered, and a lot of things to discuss. Also, I would like to want you to watch this video till the end because I have many do's and don'ts for all the PhD scholars from my own experience, and also I have some bit of advices for the PhD scholars as well so that they can excel in their PhD. So you are going to now witness a PhD which has yielded around 48 research publications, many awards, many foreign trips, and many more things in the coming section. So let's get started with this video. So friends, I did my bachelor's in physics from University of Delhi and I did my master's in physics from Jamia Millia Islamia University. Both of them are central universities in India. They are highly recognized and they are highly reputable University of India. Their rank stands at number 10 and 11 respectively. So after getting done my studies, education, like that is masters and bachelors in physics, I think to pursue my PhD in physics as well. So initially I joined in a private university in nearby my home. It was not that much good, and within 6 or 8 months of the time I realized that whatever project they have given me is not feasible there. They do not have the required facilities, they do not have the required infrastructure, they do not have the required skills as well. So because of that I thought to skip that PhD. So I resigned from there and I joined in a project at National Physical Laboratory of India, which is highly reputable and which is the most sophisticated physics laboratory in India. So after joining there, I gave myself 1 year of the time to really understand whether things are according to me or not, or the project I have been assigned is suitable for me. So for the next 1 year I did research there, and when I got confident that this is the project I want to work in, it has all the required facilities, infrastructure, and the guide was also so cool, so I thought to do my PhD from that place. So it was 2015 when I registered in my PhD. I started work there in late of 2013, but I joined the PhD in 2015 itself. And in 2015, because I have done quite a bit of work in the last 1 year, so I was able to publish some things which was from 2014 work as well as 15 work. So in 2015, it was the first time I published my work. So basically what my approach is, I would like to tell you about the approach. I had one very sophisticated machine in my lab, which is X-ray photoelectron spectroscopy. Actually it is more of like photoemission spectroscopy, which has X-phase and more characterization technique. So my guide suggested me to be a master of one machine, like master of one technique, and jack of all, rather than being jack of all and master of none. So I just pursued this thing. I thought this is right, and I did my extensive research on photoemission spectroscopy. And in that photoemission spectroscopy, I did not only work on my project, my PhD project, I also collaborated with many other people so that I can get publication from that as well, and I can also learn about many other material systems. So during my PhD I worked on 3 projects simultaneously. One was my PhD project, and one was on semiconductor as well, and third one was biomaterials and basically for dental implants. So since I was interested in doing semiconductor physics, my PhD topic was itself surface and interface studies of third nitride semiconductors, basically wide bandgap semiconductors for sensors application. So I did semiconductor physics, and since semiconductor physics are relatively same, so I extended my thing from semiconductor like wide bandgap semiconductor to other semiconductor. I also work with many other people to learn about sensing and everything, how to do sensing, because it was part of my PhD and I did not have that much expertise. So I collaborated with many other person to get sensing experiments done and learn sensing from them, and in regard of that I did their photoemission of their samples as well. So it was basically trade off. They taught me something and I taught them something. which is the most important part of your PhD. You should be ready to collaborate and exchange knowledge, because no one can be master of everything. So you have to learn something from others and give something in regarding or in reward of that. So in 2015, I was able to publish some papers, and since I was working on a machine since last 2 years, I have developed expertise on that. Basically, I gave me another career option. I was not only like I will do research only, I was very much interested in instrumentation as well. So I learned instrumentation, how photo emission machine works, what is the troubleshooting thing, what are like the maintenance and everything, so that if I do not get any further position in academia, I will switch field and get into instrumentation or like technical engineer type of thing. So this was a thing I was learning simultaneously, and because of that in 2015 itself, I went for the installation of one machine in RRCAT, Raja Ramanna Center for Advanced Technology. So this is the thing I learned, not only one technique, but I also mastered one instrumentation thing. So simultaneously two things went in progress, and it was the first time I in my PhD, it was the first time when I actually got into an aeroplane. So I was never able to get a ride of aeroplane. I would never fly earlier before. For the first time in my PhD, I got my first aeroplane ride. I was from a very middle class family, not from the top notch family, so we used to travel in trains and buses. So first time in the PhD I experienced this as well. And in 2015, when I got couple of publication, it was as I told you in my previous video, I do not keep things with me. Whatever I did, I published. Whatever I did, I published. I do not want to stockpile things. Now I'm stockpiling because it is too much. But earlier, at that time, my guide also pushed me to, if you have something, done something, do not wait. Just publish it so that people can recognize it. You will get recognition. The work will also get citation, and do not have a lot of line up work which will bother you at the later stages. So I followed my guide's advice and I started publishing from as soon as I got the work done, and I started collaborating with friends and others. I learned photo emission from one's perspective. I became expert of my field, but I started doing photo emission of other systems like carbon based products, like biomaterials, like corrosion studies, and many other studies, because these people require photo emission studies more than I do. So I used to collaborate, and that collaboration is not like I did measurement and it's over. I used to do measurements, I have to analyze the things, and I have to write my part. So it was, I did measurement, I analyzed those, I wrote my part and give it to them. So many of them were very happy, so they also gave me authorship in their paper. Many of them were not much, they were quite reserved. I don't want to say anything, but they did not give me any authorship. But I have no hard feelings for anyone. If anyone wishes, he can give or she can give me authorship, no issues. If do not want to give, that's okay, perfectly. So in 2015, when I done instrumentation thing, I got couple of papers in my bag. So in 2016, late in the 2015, there was an open call from International Center for Theoretical Physics, and from there, it was my first foreign trip. They have a workshop or school on synchrotron based radiations, X-ray based applications, and free electron lasers, and these things were quite very much aligned with whatever I was doing at present. So I applied for that and I got selected. It was fully funded. I have to put nothing on my pocket. So in 2016, it was April, it was April of 2016 when I did my first foreign trip to Italy. So in Italy, because I told you I'm very open person, I used to go to the places and explore places. So it was in Trieste, Italy, but I explored Venice and a couple of places as well. So it was first trip, it was the first stamp on my passport, that from Italy, and it gave me confidence. I came back and I started working on that. I collaborated with few persons as well, because I met a couple of persons in there, and there was a professor from Punjabi University, Patiala. He's very nice person, and I think he's one of the sweetest person I have met. So he asked me about what you do, and I told, yeah, I do photo emission. So they asked if we can collaborate, and I said yes, we can collaborate. But at that time I was just a PhD student, so I asked them to collaborate with my guide. So we collaborated, and then we worked on many papers, and I authored few papers with their group as well. So see the power of collaboration. They get mutually benefited. They did a lot of measurements from our lab, not only photo emission but all the other as well. So in 2016 when I came back, I started working again. So I got a couple of publications as well. So I thought, why don't I go to the America, the Indian American dream. The people dream to go America. So in 2017, yes, in 2017 I applied for Material Research Society conference, which used to happen in USA every time. It is twice in a year. So it was spring meeting. I applied, I got my abstract accepted. It was 2 presentation. One was like oral presentation and one was poster presentation. So I got selected for both. So I have 1 oral and 1 presentation. So the main concern was now how to get funding for that, and which was most important thing. As I told you in my previous video, any CSIR lab does not give you any type of funding. They do not want to spend a single penny on you. So how to get funding, because going US is a big thing and you have to spend like $2,000 or something like that, more than that. So at that time I applied for the DST ITS, International Travel Scheme. The government of India has a travel scheme for PhD scholars. It is highly competitive. Everyone doesn't get it. It's like success rate is less than 50%, maybe 40% or 30%. I applied for that because I used to publish a lot earlier. So I have a good CV. I have already 1 international visit on my profile. So fortunately I cleared all the thing. I got the funding. So in that funding, all the travel and my fees, like registration fees, was covered. Only I have to pay. I paid myself for my stay and my food. It was like how many it was, like it was 400 for 500 dollars. It was $400 to $500 which I spent from my time. It was the first time I spent from my own pocket because I wanted to get the US visa, and fortunately like everything was in my favor. I had DST funding. I had already been to Italy and I had good profile. So when I went for the US visa interview, they asked me a couple of things and I replied all of them. And they get how would you get money? I said I have government funding with me. He said, what you do? I said I am a physicist. I am going to present my work. So everything was convinced, and in 2017, April of 2017, I went to USA and I got a 10-year US visa. Although many people get 10 years US visa, but I have seen not much people get 10 years. Yeah, literally, it's not like 100% will get 50%. So I was lucky because having a US visa comes with several advantages. Once you have a US visa, you will get any other visa very easily, and around I think 40 and 50 countries are there which give you visa on arrival or like exemption when you have a valid US visa. So I have a valid US visa on my passport. So after coming back, I came back to my usual routine. I did my research and keep things. And simultaneously, I also, went to a lot of places in India. I attended like around 10 conferences in India as well from my contingency. And after coming back from US, I applied for Hans Sabrakar Best Paper Award. So if you are first author of the paper, you are a PhD student, you can apply for that award. So in 2018, earlier in January, I applied for that award, and fortunately I got that award as well. So it was my first international award. I got the Best Paper Award from the highly prestigious journal Applied Surface Science. It has an impact factor of over 6. And I have like how many papers? I have like 6 or 8 papers in that journal as well. So I got the Best Paper Award from that journal. It was a big point for me, for an Indian, to get this award. And the award came with like 1,000 euros. It was not only a certificate, but it was with the 1,000 euros. So whatever I have spent in my US trip was covered up in that, and I ultimately saved a lot of money for that. So it was a good thing. And then after that, I applied for Indo-French Fellowship, which is for, there's a school called ESON, European School on Nanoscience and Nanotechnology. So if you're working in the field of nanoscience and nanotechnology from India, you can apply for funding, that is CEFIPRA funding. So if you get selected in that school, if you qualified everything, then it is a 3 weeks extensive practical training school on nanoscience and nanotechnology at University of Grenoble Alpes. So fortunately, I got this funding as well. So I stayed around 3.5 weeks in Grenoble, and from there I went to Switzerland, I went to Paris, I went to a lot of places as well. So This funding was quite good because everything was covered, and besides that you get around 750 euros to spend for those 21 days, and in 21 days you also get breakfast and lunch. So basically what you have to spend is on weekends, because weekends the mess is off, and also for the dinners. So 750 euros was more than like more than what I expected, more than you can spend. So but it is me, so I spent everything on visiting like Switzerland because it's quite expensive. So I saved bit and spent everything on visiting Switzerland and Paris. So after that, when I came back, I had good knowledge. I collaborated from few people from there because I made friends, and I was made people contacts from the Niels Institute and the CNRS. So I contacted with them. So that's how my contact list, whenever I go to some conference, I make some friend, I make some collaborator, I try to collaborate with them, so that at least some point of the time they will help me or I can help them. So that's how you keep publishing. So that's how it works in science. So it was 2018 when I got the first best paper award, and then in the August I went to this school, and fortunately I applied for AVS, American Vacuum Society. So I applied for the AVS symposium, 65th symposium, and I applied for 2 prizes in that. Because my abstract was accepted, I applied for the graduate student award, and I applied for the applied surface science divisional award. So I submitted 3 abstract, 1 general, 2 for awards, and the 3 got accepted. So in October, it was in October of 2018 when I presented my work. And in that I got 2 awards, all the 2 awards which I applied for. I got the best graduate student of the year award, and I got the applied surface science divisional award, though it was second prize, not the first prize, but the second prize. And interestingly, the graduate student award was about $1,000, and the second prize of the applied surface science divisional award was $500. So I got $1,500 from that thing. And also, if you are getting the graduate student award, they reimburse your travel expenses. So all my travel expenses was covered from that award. I spent only on my Airbnb and on my travel, like local travel and food. And since I was there it was in California, so I went to LA, I went to Hollywood. So whatever money I get from there, I spend on roaming around UA, Las Vegas and everything. So yeah, it's a dream, and you need to go. If you are there, you should go Las Vegas. It's a very decent place, at least for the youngsters. So I went to there as well. So in 2018 I got 3 awards, and how it went. And so in 2018 I submitted my thesis, and when I submitted a thesis, I applied for a postdoc, and I got a postdoc offer from Japan. So I was not sure whether I will be able to survive in Japan, because I'm a die-hard, like very strict vegetarian, and I do not consume any eggs and everything, meats, everything. So it was quite difficult for me. So I asked the professor if I can come and see their labs and visit everything. So there was a chance I got to Japan as well. Then in 2019 I went to Japan, and things did not work out. So we left that offer. So also I get an offer from the TU Munich. So I visited TU Munich as well, and then apply in the late 2018 I have applied for Lindau Nobel Laureate meeting. It is a DST funded event, DST DFG award. So if you get selected, everything will be paid by DST in India and DFG from Germany. I got that award as well. So in 2019 I got a chance to meet the Nobel laureates at Lindau, Germany. And this was my 8th foreign trip in my PhD. And then my PhD got over, and I joined the Indian Institute of Technology, Delhi, as a senior project scientist. And since then, I am just keep my work like that only. So basically, in my PhD, I worked, I collaborated, I applied for many awards. I got around 11 to 12 awards in my PhD, including best poster, travel grants, everything. I got 48 publications in 5 years in my PhD, because I got 2 later on. So at present I have like 51 papers, and out of that 14 has been my lead author. I have 14 lead author publications, because I used to write a lot. So 14, and there were 4 or 5 papers. We have like equal contribution, and then there are paper from my groups, and then paper from my collaborators, and the paper everything. So like that. So it was around 48 or 50, 11, 12 awards, 8 countries, and around 10 to 12 conferences, and a lot of learning and a lot of new experiences. So that's how I completed my PhD in 2019, and then joined IIT as a senior project scientist. And let's see what happens, because this is the corona time. Because I have applied for a couple of things, but I was supposed to go 3 places in this 2020 as well. One for Germany, and they were Italy, and then US again. So I couldn't do it because of the corona. Things got cancelled. They were all fully funded. So in my PhD, I never got a support from my institute, because it's research institute. They don't go have a support. I got funding from DST. I got funding most of the time. I got funding from the place I'm applying, and most of the time I got awards. So in that award there was money, and from that money I was able to cover my living expenses as well as travel expenses. You won't believe that I missed 3 awards, one from ECOS, European Conference of Surface Science. I got 2 awards from that, but I couldn't got to collect it because they were asking me to, they said they can cover my accommodation, registration, everything, but I have to pay the travel. And at that time I was going from a financial crisis, so I couldn't afford to travel. It was like 50,000 or like $800, so I couldn't cover it. So I missed 3 awards because I couldn't get the financial support. So if I was there in any IITs, so I could have covered all those things as well. So award list would be quite long, but I'm thankful that I was not in IIT, because people there do not work that much, and if I was there in IIT, I'm not sure whether I will be able to do that much amount of work. So the credit goes to my supervisor, who kept me motivating, and he said go apply, and he never hesitated to give me a recommendation. He always supported me in applying abroad, getting things. So, and that is why I highly recommend you to research about your professor before joining PhD, because many times I see professors do not support their PhD students to apply for awards, and ultimately that's not a good thing, because we are the new generation and we want to get exposure. You have already done things, so they need to support us. But if they don't, we cannot do anything, because PhD you have to, everything comes from your supervisor, from your recommendation to everything comes from the supervisor. So choose your supervisor very wisely and do your work. And now you're thinking how I get that much of papers. There was a time I used to work 36 hours continuously. So it's not easy, but I'm telling you, you think it's super easy. It's not super easy. I have worked from morning 9 o'clock to evening 11 o'clock. It's like 14 hours. I work 36 hours. I work on Mondays, weekends, Sundays, national holidays. I worked on everything. I was too much curious and I was too much into research that I did everything. But I won't recommend you to work that much to maintain your healthy work-life balance. And in the middle of that, I also developed some anxiety disorder at the time. So it was very minor, but it got sorted out. So not everything that glitters is gold. So it was all from my side, and I have many interns. I have guided many interns, and few of them got at very decent position, and when they say something, it really feels good. So I never, from my side, I never let anyone to get problem from me. I'm very cooperative person. I'm very friendly person. I never discriminated in my interns. I never discriminated in doing work with that. Most of them used to call by my name, and it was perfectly okay with me, because in India they have tradition to say sir, and I don't prefer that. They were quite okay with me. They were quite easy with me, and I support people. So in PhD, take it easy. If you are treating someone who is at the lower level, then always think that there is always one person who is top of you, and they will also treat you the same. So treat people the way you want to get treated by others. And now coming to the do's and don'ts. The do's are: keep publishing, start your work from the starting, do not let any pending work, and do not get in conflicts, make good friends, make healthy relationships, make collaborators, be master of at least one technique, do not be a jack of everything, And don'ts, and yeah, do is choose your professor carefully. Even if you take 6 months to choose a professor, it's perfectly fine, because your next 4.5 years are going to depend on that 6 months. So invest your 6 months extensively to choose your supervisor. Do not randomly choose anyone. Okay. And the don'ts include, do not underestimate yourself. If you do not get a publication in 2 years, you will definitely get in 3 years. Avoid friends which keep your morale down, which keep you like bitching about you. Avoid those friends. Do not get too much flattened by others' success. It's your success that going to be with you, not others. And keep your healthy life. Keep motivating others. Treat people with equality. Whether it's a sweeper or the director, they both are humans and they both deserve to treat it the same. The next thing is like, even if you are PhD, no one cares. So do not try to show off like I am from this institute, I have that institute. I am from the prestigious institute of India, the National Physical Laboratory of India. I have no feeling about that I did something like that. It's perfectly fine. Perfectly fine. Whether you are an institute in research institute, whether you're in IITs, whether in NITs, whether in a central or state university, wherever you are, we all are equal, we are all human, we have all qualified the same examination, we all are there to do the research for the society, not for ourselves. So take it lightly, treat everyone with respect, and that's all. And keep applying for the awards. Keep an eye on the which awards are open and keep applying for that. Explore your boundaries, explore your limits, explore everything. That's how life is to be. Always keep a secondary option. If things do not work out, you can switch to other place. That's all for my advice. If you still need anything, just put it in the comment section. And thank you very much for subscribing channel. If you like this video, do not forget to like it and subscribe the channel. And also, if you feel like these things should be also shared with your friends, or sharing is one of the most important thing. Share this video with your friends, share information with your friends, everything. Thank you very much, and we'll meet in the next video. If you have any questions, put in the comment section. Thank you very much for your support. Thank you very much for the 1000 subscribers. Thank you very much.